The Amazon rainforest is one of the last places on Earth where people can still disappear completely. It stretches across millions of square miles, hiding regions so dense that even satellites struggle to see what's living below. And deep inside that forest, there are still human tribes with little to no contact with the outside world. Some have never willingly made contact at all. These are not myths, these are real people, documented, photographed, and in some cases encountered, often with deadly consequences. In 2008, a Brazilian government aircraft flew over a remote region of rainforest near the Peru border and captured one of the most unsettling images ever recorded in the Amazon. Below the canopy, a previously uncontacted tribe stood in the clearing, their bodies painted bright red, looking up at the sky and immediately raising their bows. Within seconds, arrows were fired directly at the aircraft. This moment was not just dramatic, it was deeply revealing. These were not people confused by what they were seeing. Their reaction was instant and coordinated, which means they already understood that something unfamiliar in the sky could be a threat. Experts believe many of these tribes are descendants of communities that survived brutal massacres during the rubber boom, where outsiders brought violence and disease that wiped out entire populations. So when this tribe saw that aircraft, they were not witnessing technology. They were seeing danger, and they responded the only way they knew how, by defending their land without hesitation. For nearly 3 decades, the Tanaru indigenous territory in Brazil was home to a single haunting figure, the man of the hole. He was the sole survivor of a tribe decimated by land-hungry ranchers and illegal loggers in the 1970s and 80s. Living in total isolation, he famously refused all contact with the outside world, occasionally firing arrows at anyone who ventured too close. What makes his story truly chilling and gives him his nickname is his signature habit of digging mysterious, narrow holes over 6 feet deep inside every hut he built. To this day, experts are unsure if these pits were for trapping animals, hiding from predators, or served a deeper spiritual purpose. When he passed away in 2022, he took the secrets of his language, his culture, and the reason for those holes to the grave, marking the official extinction of his people. Authorities left him tools occasionally, but never forced contact, respecting his isolation. He survived like this for over 20 years, completely alone, until his body was found in 2022. His life stands as a chilling reminder that some isolated tribes are not hidden civilizations, but the last fragments of people who were nearly erased. The Korubo Tribe, living deep in Brazil's Javari Valley, have built a reputation as one of the most feared groups in the Amazon, largely due to a series of violent encounters with outsiders. Reports over the years have documented attacks on fishermen, loggers, and intruders who entered their territory, with some victims killed using large wooden clubs. These encounters have been described as sudden and brutal, often happening without warning. But what makes this story more disturbing is the context behind that violence. The Javari Valley has been under constant pressure from illegal activity for decades, including logging, poaching, and trafficking. For tribes like the Korubo, contact has historically meant death, whether from disease or direct conflict. That means their aggression is not random. It is learned behavior shaped by survival. When someone crosses into their land, they're not meeting a new group of people. They're stepping into a space that has been defended for generations. The Mashco-Piro are one of the most frequently cited uncontacted tribes in the Amazon, and their appearances have become increasingly unsettling in recent years. They have been seen standing along riverbanks in Peru, watching boats pass by, sometimes approaching settlements, and occasionally attempting limited interactions. But these encounters have not always been peaceful. There have been documented cases where Mashco-Piro individuals fired arrows at outsiders, resulting in injuries and deaths. What makes these sightings particularly concerning is what they might mean. Experts believe the tribe is being pushed out of deeper forest areas due to illegal logging and environmental disruption. In other words, they are not coming closer out of curiosity, they are being forced into visibility, and that creates a dangerous situation where both sides are unprepared for contact, increasing the risk of sudden violence. In 2014, a rare and alarming encounter took place near the Envira River in Brazil when a small group of previously uncontacted indigenous people suddenly appeared near another village. They were described as young men, visibly nervous, attempting to communicate and ask for help. This moment was captured on video and quickly spread worldwide because of how unusual it was. But the real story behind it was far more disturbing. Experts later concluded that this group had likely been fleeing violence from across the Peru border, where illegal logging and trafficking operations were moving deeper into isolated regions. That means this was not a peaceful first contact driven by curiosity. It was an emergency. A tribe that had avoided the outside world for generations was suddenly forced into it because their environment was no longer safe. A tribe that had avoided the outside world for generations was suddenly forced into it because their environment was no longer safe. It is one of the clearest examples of how isolation in the Amazon is being broken, not by chance, but by pressure. In the densest part of the Amazon lives a group so private that we don't even know what they call themselves. Known to the outside world as the Flecheiros, or the Archers, they have earned a reputation as the ultimate guardians of the rainforest. They earned this name because of their immediate and aggressive response to any intrusion. Very little is known about their language, culture, or population size because they avoid all forms of contact. But Brazilian officials have confirmed that they will attack without warning if their territory is entered. Unlike some tribes that observe outsiders before reacting, these guys are known for acting instantly, which has made them one of the most dangerous groups to approach. While it's easy to see their long bows and poison-tipped arrows as scary, there's a much deeper story here. They aren't looking for trouble. They are protecting their home. After seeing what happened to other tribes who met outsiders, bringing disease and the destruction of the forest, they decided that the safest way to survive was to remain invisible. While some tribes build permanent villages, the Kawahiva are masters of the move. Often called the rainbow people or the red-headed ones because of the red seeds they use to dye their skin, they are a small group of hunter-gatherers who are constantly on the run. They don't have time to plant crops or build long-term homes because they are always trying to stay one step ahead of loggers and ranchers. The Kawahiva are a perfect example of a group that isn't dangerous by choice, but cautious by necessity. For years, the only way we knew they existed was through the things they left behind. Tiny bows, arrows, and hammocks found in temporary camps. They have chosen a life of constant movement to ensure that their children grow up safe and free from the outside world. The Kawahiva aren't just hiding, they are surviving. Every time they move their camp, they are protecting their families from the modern world. They show us that sometimes the most powerful way to keep your culture alive is to simply remain out of sight. The Yanomami are one of the largest indigenous groups in the Amazon, but some of their subgroups remain highly isolated and have had limited contact with the outside world. In recent years, their territory has become the center of violent conflicts due to illegal gold mining operations. Armed miners have entered protected areas, leading to deadly confrontations with the Yanomami communities. Reports have described shootings, destroyed villages, and severe environmental damage caused by mercury contamination. For isolated subgroups within this region, these invasions are catastrophic. They are suddenly exposed to violence and disease without warning. This situation shows how isolation does not guarantee safety. Even the most remote tribes can be pulled into conflict when outside forces push deep enough into the forest. Not in the Amazon on this one, but instead on a small island in the Indian Ocean, there is a tribe so isolated that the Indian government has made it illegal to even approach their shores. They are known as the Sentinelese, and they are considered the most isolated people on Earth. Unlike Amazon tribes, these people have completely rejected all forms of outside contact for thousands of years. And they defend that isolation aggressively. In 2018, an American man attempted to reach the island, believing he could make peaceful contact. Within hours of landing, he was killed by the tribe. There are also documented cases of helicopters being met with arrows and spears the moment they fly too low. What makes the Sentinelese so terrifying is not just their hostility, but how absolute their isolation is. No one knows their language, their population size, or how they live day to day. Every attempt at at contact has either failed or ended in violence. And because they have no immunity to modern diseases, even a single successful interaction could wipe them out. So they remain exactly as they are, completely cut off, watching anyone who gets too close and making sure they never come back. The Awa are considered one of the most endangered tribes on Earth, and some of their members still live in total isolation deep in Brazil's rainforest. Unlike other tribes known for direct confrontation, the Awa are known for something equally unsettling. They run. When outsiders approach, isolated Awa groups abandon camps and disappear deeper into the forest, avoiding contact entirely. But that survival strategy is becoming harder to maintain. Illegal logging has continued to push into their territory, destroying parts of their environment and forcing them to move constantly. This creates a silent form of danger. There are likely groups living nearby that no one ever sees, moving away before they can be detected. And that means there are areas of the Amazon where people may already be there, watching and choosing to remain completely unseen. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!